Welcome to nighttime at BTP. Yep. So I was about to hang up my hat, but then I was like, Sean, gotta get those videos up. The fans are depending on you for their inspiration for the day. Oh, wait a minute. Where did I put? I had water. Yeah, there it is. Hold on a second. Here it comes. Water is so delicious. All right, guys. Listen up. So, when I was, oh, hello, these iron hands don't belong over here. Hold on a second. Just before I forget, you know, that's kind of my thing. I got to do stuff before I forget. So, when I was 16, I lived in Oregon. My mom, a single mom, she was like, hey, it's time to get a job. So, I went and I was talking to my friends about it, and one of them was like, hey, I work at Taco Bell as a fry boy, and the fry boy would cook up all the taco shells, thousands of taco shells. And he was like, I'm about to quit, so they're you know, putting out the ad for it, and you should apply. So I applied, and then a day or two later I found out that same friend was like, hey, Sean, you should know you're the only one that applied. So I go in for the interview. It's I think it's after hours. No, it's during hours. So the manager, who's this it's this woman in her 20s, but she seemed like she was like all grown up to me. You know, she was married even. And so she sits down. She asks me questions. She gets to, hey, what makes you think you could be a good member of the Taco Bell team? And I said, well, besides the fact that I'm the only one that applied, she looks at me, yes, besides that. So I got the job, and right about this time I was emancipated in my junior year. Yeah, it must have been about that time. So I remember I had holes in the bottoms of my shoes, and not in the backs or the sides, but like in the front. And I had to go out and scrub the oil off of the drive-through with a push broom and then spray it down. And the water would get into my socks, and that was just a misery. So with my first paycheck, which I think was like $35, I went to the local market and I got brand new shoes. Yes, that was like the awesomest. And I was hungry all the time and was always raiding the walk. Like I was eating the food while I was in the walk-in. You know, just handfuls here and there to sort of keep me going. One day, they had this giant thing of refried beans, a huge pot of it. And it was right next to where people would line up, right? And I don't know what came over me, but I came up to deliver the taco shells, and as I went back, I grabbed that giant spoon and I just stuck it in my mouth. And I'm like, and I heard, and I look over and it's a mom and her two kids, and she left. And yeah, I don't remember if I was reprimanded for that. The year for this was the year of the Super Bowl Shuffle, if you want to look that up. Because I made a parody song called the Taco Bell Shuffle. And it was about, the two managers were like these two girls in like probably their early 20s. And one of them was like really nice, and one of them probably just seemed mean to me because she had it with my nonsense, you know. And so yeah, you had to wear gloves, these special gloves to keep your hands from getting burnt. And all that oil was not good for the complexion. So that was my first job in fast food. My next job was at McDonald's, and and this is definitely when I was emancipated. Basically, my mother got remarried and she moved to a different city, but I wanted to stay in the same city and become graduate at my high school. So we kept, I was effectively emancipated. I don't think I was legally emancipated, but the high school would accept my notes. And so I would go in the morning and, hand them my note, and the note would say, "Dear attendance office, please excuse Sean from the first 2 periods of today. Signed, Love, Sean." And so I just got to write my own notes and kind of just float in whenever I wanted. My GPA my senior year, by the way, was 0.6. It was not good, but they didn't want to see me again for another year, so pretty much. In the 80s in Oregon, it was not hard to graduate high school, and that was lucky for me. I couldn't graduate nowadays. So senior year, pretty sure it was, I lived on my own. I was in a trailer. I rented a room in a trailer park for $85 a month. And it was brutal. Again, starving all the time. Fridge was bare. The person that owned the trailer was hardly ever there. So it was always just a gallon of milk, peanut butter, jam, and bread. And I was glad for it, man. So anyway, I worked at McDonald's. I go in there. That when they hire me, the manager was like this really tall blonde woman. Again, seemed like a mature adult to me, probably just in her 20s. And she was like, "Oh, goody, skinny." And I'm like, "Well, why is that?" My first job was to scrape the gum off the bottom of the tables, the chairs, and I don't know why people would put gum here, but scrape it off of the bottom of the benches, the booths. So I was just like under there with like my head on the ground. It was all oily under there, dust bunnies, La Brea tar pit of dust bunnies, all in the grease, and I would just like scrape that gum off. And so one day, a guy who's cleaning a McDonald's bathroom, he's like pushing that yellow mop bucket on wheels thing, and he goes by and he's just like, "Oh, you poor bastard." I was like, And from there I worked my way up to flipping burgers. And I loved flipping burgers. It was really amazing. Very much enjoyed it. I've always loved people. And from there I worked my way up to cashier. And that was awesome. They were like, "Sean, we got to talk to you about being cashier." I'm like, "Yeah, what is it?" It's like, "Buddy." And by the way, I didn't get glasses till I was 21. 18. Yeah. So anyway, it's like, "Hey, buddy, you got to quit being so friendly in the checkout." Because I was like, "Hey, how are you? We could be friends." Too much eye contact, Sean. People don't want to be your friends. And so late at night, that manager, she would let us empty the ice cream machine into like a giant, like a large fountain cup. And we would put like chicken nuggets and apple pies in there and everything. She would just let the closers take some of the food home. And I got to tell you, that was amazing for me because I was 17 and just ravenous all the time, so hungry. And loved that. So anyway, and I did work at Wendy's. That was later on, and I have 0 stories about Wendy's. It was just a thing. I don't think I was there for very long. I did the salad bar, where you just go in, bring everything out, restock everything, make sure it looked good, wipe it all down, and so those were my fast food jobs. Summer of my junior year, my mom says, "Hey, guess what, pal? You have a job." And I'm like, "I do?" I was not. I was not excited. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just goof off for the summer. Oh no, 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 no. You now have a 40-hour-a-week job at the lumber mill. And that was brutal. Oh my gosh. Wow. But I got fit and had money all of a sudden. Had money, you know, a little girlfriend, and life was pretty good. Life was pretty good that summer. All right. Anyway, but that job taught me, I was like, yeah, menial labor is not for me. No, no thank you. Well, guys, just thought I would tell you those stories. I really want to get all of my consciousness uploaded to the cloud so that later when they're making artificial intelligences and downloading them into sex robots, at least mine will have something interesting to talk about in between. All right, that's coming. Black Mirror has predicted it. And by the way, oh, here's the pitch. I am at right around 45 projects. I would love to add a few new projects. Get in touch with me. The link is in the liner notes. And also, if you find something on my web store that you would like, the hordes are here, that you would like done, I will often give you the model if you just commission to have it assembled and or painted. So, something like that. Not just assembled, but you get it. All right, well, thanks for tuning in, and more to come tomorrow.